a poll yesterday on Twitter to see what map people wanted to watch me butcher. And I had said, oh, we can do um, the town of Cove from Rise of the Forsaken. We could do the Coop, which is the base camp run by or owned by the Blood and Oil Vultures Company in Saving Grace. And the base camp for the mining operation where Grace and the delightful Six Eludia and Sueris have their accommodation. Or we would make a part of the Forgotten Dungeon in Castle Swallow in Romancing the Dungeon. And because it's the internet, we ended up on a tie. And as much fun as it would be for me to make uh, two maps in this stream, I'm not going to do that because nobody wants to see me ruin two maps. Hey, Mad Demon 7, welcome along. I hope you're having a good morning, wherever you or good. I'm just gonna say time because I'm not sure where people are coming to us from. I hope you're having a good time of the day. Um, I'm I'm starving. I haven't had breakfast yet, and I've only got granola, and I don't really want to eat granola for breakfast again. It's 5 a.m. Oh my god. So that's the time I fell asleep and then woke up to do this. So I know last time when James was doing map making, he was using um Dungeon Alchemist, I think is what it's called, or Alchemy Dungeon. I also have that. I just haven't installed it yet. But I am going to be using Dungeon Draft. It's the one piece of software that I really really like when it comes to this. I use Dungeon Draft, World Draft, and Incarnate are the three that I would use for any of my map making. But Dungeon Draft is the one that I like the most. It suits my purposes the best. Um, if you are totally new to who we are, Mad Demon, we are an Irish group of tabletop role playing gamers, D8Dungeon, and we make podcasts and streams of our adventures and campaigns. And I happen to be the DM for those. So yeah, outside of the games that we run, we also do a couple of different streams throughout the week. So this is map making. Um, on Tuesday, I run a an hour long slot where I talk about different aspects of being a dungeon master. And at the moment, we're looking at world building, and that's on Tuesday at 7 p.m. So yeah, we're a bunch of busy little bees that do lots of different things. So thank you. God, 5 a.m. Yeah, nuts. But I hope I can be at least a engaging start to your day. Um, if anything goes wrong in stream, it's more than likely my fault. But do let me know if there are any issues with audio or the screen or anything like that. It's been a while since I've used Dungeon Draft, so it's going to take me a couple of minutes to kind of find my feet, find my bearings a small bit. But I'm going to actually ask if anybody in chat has a D20 to hand. And hopefully you do. I actually have a bunch. Like I have a full bag of dice just here. But in the interest of this being totally fair, um because I don't want to roll it and go, "Oh, I rolled this," cuz particularly Tread Softly will probably call me out. Okay. Well, I tell you what, and good morning, the Red Sage. If you have a D20 to hand, will you do me a favor and roll it for me? And if it's 1 to 10, because two of the maps tied, the Forgotten Dungeon and the Town of Cove maps tied in our Twitter poll. And if you roll a D20 for me, 1 to 10, it's okay, perfect. Yes, we're making the map for Cove. Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much. Screw you, Tread Softly. It's too late. It's far too late. The Red Sage got 15, and I needed a 15. I really wanted to make the map for Cove, just because um, we we've only for we've so if you're listening to the podcast, if you're listening to Romancing the Dungeon, we've just started exploring the Forgotten Dungeon, and I say we. It's just been Hephaestus all by her lonesome, um, and she's having a great time. exploring that horrifying dungeon filled with traps and undead monsters. So it would be a bit spoilerish if I had to go and make the whole dungeon, because there are things that over the next couple of episodes, as they continue their exploration through it, um, we would sort it out. Good morning, the real Baron's Eye. Everyone loves a tie. So okay, we're gonna get started. We're gonna be making the town of Cove, and Cove is it's a real place in Ireland, in County Cork. But we're not going to be making that Cove. We're going to be making the fictional portside town of Cove in the Rise of the Forsaken game that we run every second Monday. And just to give you a bit of, and I'll talk a little bit about it. I will do my best to keep an eye on chat, just to see where we're at with it. But with yeah, I was wondering if I make this different, does it get all weird? It does. Okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna expand this out so you can see it a bit more. Um, yeah, that should be fine. So like I said, the town of Cove is a seaside town. Um, Alright, if you answer this, I would say you're grabbing food. Um, Foundry or Roll20 or some other. I actually the way I run I generally, all my games, Mad Demon, are theater of the mind. So I I a lot of the maps I will put up on our Patreon or anything like that for people to kind of take a look at these spaces, or if they even wanted to use them in their own games. Not that I'm going to pretend to be a phenomenal map maker or anything of that sort, but I work with those maps in mind so that we can, when I go to describe it, I've got a visual reference for myself. And then if I ever find that if I'm not describing it well, if the players need a little bit extra, then I will go and do my best to try and describe that as well as I possibly can. So I'm going to start. I've already started with, and sorry, in case you were, I'm using Dungeon Draft as the software I use, and you can export these out for Roll20 and stuff that you can see here. You've got a grid. I've already created a layer, ground and water. So I'm just gonna start by adding, and because this will help me with my when it comes to visualizing the space that we have. And like I said, Cove is on the coast of the island that we're on, Inishtarreg. So again, I'm probably butchering the Irish for these things, but we're just going to add in our water, and that's going to give me an indication as to what I have to work with when it comes to our space. And I wonder, yeah, it's going to be, I use a Mac, and on a Mac I've noticed, and I don't know if anybody else here is a Mac user, but on Mac I have a bit of an issue with actually kind of being able to run this effectively. So if it ever kind of conks out, or if it's a bit slow like it was there a second ago, sometimes the software just completely and totally drops on me as well. So I wonder, I don't know if that's something I'm doing wrong, or anything like that. But the water is a little too bright for me, so we're going to go back over and we're going to add a little bit of a darkening to this. My wish, tread softly, is that this stream goes okay and I don't make a complete hames of it. Yeah, that's a little bit closer to what I'm looking for. And I'm just gonna, because we have a small little, yeah, perfect. Okay. So I said I would, on top of it all, kind of give an indication as to kind of what Cove is for, or where it kind of came from. I'm going to undo a little bit of that actually. I'll go back a couple of steps. And I am not totally happy with where this is going. We're just gonna maybe do a little bit. Yeah, that's probably closer to what I have in mind. So Cove is Cove is very much a small seaside town, and the the gang the players arrived at it, they had already experienced Cove, or already had some knowledge of Cove. Um, and again, no big spoilers or anything like that. Uh, Make sure you point out the defenses of Cove. Yeah, sure. I'll explain. Yeah, I'll give you inside trading knowledge. Tread softly. In case you don't know, Tread softly plays Nulra in our Rise of the Forsaken campaign. So I would assume very eager to find out. Um, there's To answer your question, Pixelate. There are some really useful tools that you can use for generating dungeons, and it does depend on the level of detail that you want to go into. So for me, and I spoke about these very very briefly last in our last episode of DM notes, but there's a generator that you can use, and I would use it to help me kind of get a base idea for what I wanted, and I would then go into something like Dungeon Draft with that as my reference, and I would start to map out my dungeons. So it's not, what I would say is it's not difficult, it's just time consuming, and it really does depend on how much time you want to put into this to bring your kind of that space to life. um okay, I think I'm fairly happy with where we're at with our water layer. So I'm going to, oh, hang on, I wanted to just go back in here, and I want to add in just a kind of a, there we go. Yeah. So let's start looking at our actual the space that we're in. So terrain, it's actually quite a mucky space. So we're currently using dirt. We have dirt down as one of our terrain types. Um, I don't think I want to go in with too much gravel. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and I'm going to actually start with maybe giving a sense of the the roads that lead into the town itself. And there's two entry points, with the exception of our little port, which we'll be putting in a moment or two. There are two kind of paths into the town itself, and the players have come in through both, and that's a little heavy. So we'll go back in over these just to take the edge out of them, because the town is very much so. When they first got there, they had this idea of it being quite a nice, sleepy little village. But in reality, and I stress that, and that's not even that's a literal sense. In the reality, in the real world, when they made it there, they found that Cove itself has sort of, what's the nice way of maybe explaining what's happened, effectively been taken over. The whole uh, the whole town itself is now very much run by quite a quite a charming, totally not evil, totally not demented or uh, deranged gentleman, who may or may not um, rule the town with an iron fist. And I'm just going to be putting in uh, the gates to the town itself. And again, it's fairly well guarded. Um, the whole town is closed off with barricades. And again, they had clocked this when they first arrived. Um, having a bit of it. Oh, click OK. That's fine. Just do that. Okay, that should get us down. Sorry, I'm on compare levels. We don't need to see that at the moment. So yeah, we've. That looks a bit. That looks a bit odd. I might, yeah. So like I was saying, the whole town is closed off. It's got its own barricade. Um, and it's a little less polished than the wooden walls I've erected. But we're going to be doing a little bit to maybe add to that. We'll be putting kind of debris and stuff because the fortifications aren't. It's not a fortified village. It was sort of it lies at the bottom of two hills that lead down into to the small little beach or embankment area, and Inishtarg generally quite a peaceful place, but not for the last while. And a lot of these fortifications are very much uh, again, what's the correct way of putting this? They've been kind of put up haphazardly, and if you tread softly to answer your question, here this northern gate is where you all left the town, and this is where you would have come into the town. So Diara's impressive horse skills slash Ferren shooting a townsperson with his crossbow for no reason other than to tell Diara he doesn't care happened right around here. Again, quite a charming, if not garbage person, and I think that's probably the best way we'll kind of go with it. I'm going to use, just to give a bit of color to the space that we're in, and I'm going to decrease the brush and I'm going to bring the intensity down a little bit because I want there to be, oh, wrong brush. Want there to be a little bit of green, a little bit of, especially outside the town. We can just add around the walls just to give it a bit of a lift from what we're kind of the muckiness that we're seeing around it. On that, the whole town itself has kind of well, it's seen better days, I think is the easiest way to put it. And a lot of the buildings, and this is what we're going to be looking for, a lot of the buildings have actually. Do you want any tricks of the trade of a digital traditional art that you? Yes, please hit me. I again, this is more of a hobby for me. I really enjoy doing it. But it does. I do find it quite. So yeah, please feel free to, if you've any tips or tricks, Maddie, and that would be phenomenal. It would be really appreciated. It's not. This is again, I am no artiste, as it may becoming fundamentally aware as we watch me ruin the town. I portal tool again. We're not going to be seeing any major gates. I think they're horrendous, but it might be the best thing. Oh yes, yeah. No, I there's a couple. I'll be doing a little bit. I like to throw rocks and stuff under this level as well. It does look really cool. Um I've seen some other people do that, and it does look pretty nifty. So we've got our gates that are guarded, and we're gonna pop in some gates if we can. Might have to fix this wall a little bit. Because it obviously doesn't like us putting the wall on or putting our gates on a curve. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. That's very, very strange. Let's try. I mean, if I put it there, it's just a door floating there. That literally makes no sense. We'll go back to our wall tool. We'll edit the points again. I mean, I really don't want to have to do it like this because it looks a bit silly to me. But like that just looks odd now. Okay, undo, edit the points, bring that over. Okay, so I think what we might do, always do that, is I'm just going to pop these here. And then, now that we've got that placed, I'm actually going to go back now and maybe look at putting a... Okay, that's strange. Now our other door has vanished. Or other gate. Okay, see, that I don't hate as much. Okay, yeah, that I can do with. Erasing water looks like more natural with the sharp delta rivers. Okay, noted. Thank you. That's really cool. We have our two entrance points to the from the road up onto our space. We're just going to go back in with our terrain brush, and we're just going to add a little bit more of the kind of dry grass terrain to our map. Just again, just to add a bit of color. And we'll do a little bit more here inside Cove when we have our buildings and stuff in that space. But I always, particularly with the roads, I don't mind the roads looking a little bit muddy, a little bit mucky. Again, especially for the likes of Inishdarug and this space Cove, it would have been dirt roads. There was no paving, there was no cobblestones or anything like that. Maybe some in the town. But as I was saying, Cove under its new ruler, its new leader, Captain Ferrin, a lot of the care of the town has kind of gone away. So with a base, and that's what we kind of have here. We have a base for kind of the town itself. It's obviously lacking in detail. There's a couple of things that we have yet to add. Buildings being the first and foremost, but also there is the kind of the outlying kind of materials. So we'll be looking at adding maybe some trees, logs, so on and so forth, just to like that fortification's a bit crappy. Now it is fairly crappy, but I don't have any assets for the walls to make it look a bit more fort-like, a bit more like wooden walls are fine, but that's not how I've envisioned Cove in my mind. It's not how I described it. The fortifications are fairly ramshackle. So that aside, let's take a look at our at the actual building of the town, the structure of it itself. And when we got to do that, so with our my screen is all over the place. With that in mind, there's a couple of things that we're going to have to do, and I'm just going to readjust this. Bear with me because my screen is a little too weird right now. Okay. And I'm just going to zoom out 100%, and I'm going to take a look at OBS to make sure that looks okay. Yeah, that looks fine. Yeah, that's fairly close to what's in my brain. Tread Softly is kindly pointing out some of the locations that we were at. Yes, we've got the mayor's house, or Captain Ferrin's quarters to add. We have a wonderful B&B to add. And we have a luxury tavern that may or may not be in pieces. So our map here is probably going to reflect Cove before the party arrived and all hell broke loose. But let's go back to having a look at where our buildings and stuff like that. So with our kind of the spaces that we are looking at, we have a couple of things that we might need to do, and I might need to reload this. I don't know if I have all my assets open on this, but I use a huge amount of assets from 2 Minute Tabletop. I follow them on. Okay, it's stretched vertical a little bit. Okay, thank you. I use 2 Minute Tabletop, as I was saying, as my for a lot of my maps and map assets. Hopefully, I'm just going to make sure that looks okay. Oh, it is still very vertical. Okay. Okay. Try to make this look a little, because it's quite weird when I was making adjustments to it. Okay, yeah, that is because it's supposed to be square, and it's square on my screen. It must be the way I would set up in OBS. Is very vertical. That's very annoying. I wonder if we just that's looking a bit clunky as well. Sorry, I'm fiddling away with it here and I'm getting distracted. I think I might take a look at it during the break, just to see if I can tidy it up a small bit, because it does look a little off. With our, yeah, I might need to go back and take a look at our my assets that I've preloaded, because I don't see everything. Oh no, there's a few there. Okay, that's fine. We've got a couple of our roofs and stuff like that, and we're going to be doing kind of a top down thing for a little bit of this, but with our with the town itself, I'm gonna maybe just take a look at just giving us kind of a sense. So here, oh, wonderful, we've got defense. So we've got bits and pieces that we can now start to add to make this look a little more like what we had in mind when we first talked about building or adding to Cove. And just gonna make sure I'm gonna put these on another layer, and I'm going to okay, so yeah, that's pretty close to what I wanted. And again, you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm using a again, I'm on my Mac, and I have I have one of those I have the Magic Mouse tool, or Magic Mouse as it is, and it's not the best for this kind of thing. I'm gonna just pop that down. That really works for what I wanted for this. Now, my only issue is when it comes to what I'm doing. And this is where I probably should have swapped out for a different mouse, because obviously down here you can see all your shortcuts for rotating, scaling. They don't necessarily translate. They don't necessarily translate to a Mac and the Magic Mouse. So if I was to hold down Alt, you can see here it's doing literally nothing. So I'm going to have to pop these in and then make the changes. So kind of where I'm gonna bring these down as well a little bit. So we're gonna undo the placement of that. And where am I at? 0.9. Might go a little smaller. Might go 0.8. That might work. Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna have to take these and then manually fix them to do what we need them to do. And you know what? If they look a little odd, that's totally fine because these were built by pirates. So it's not like, they had an architect come in and go, lads, they're not lining up properly. I need you to rethink this. Who knows? Maybe yeah, that kind of stuff. So I wonder now if I could cheat. If I just shift those down a little bit. Yeah. And we're going to go back in to our object tool and we're going to keep adding a few of these. So probably, I don't know, another few there. Oh, there we go. Nope, don't make it smaller. But we are gonna just shift you over a little bit. And we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna turn you. And same thing here. Give that a bit of a move. Already looks a little bit more threatening. Already really fits this idea of a town that's been taken over and sort of haphazardly reinforced to prevent escape or people coming in. So we have a bit of these to put in. I'm just going to add a few as I go down along. The spacebar is one of the few, the moving thing works the best on a Mac. Imagine this was your town. Imagine this is just terrifying. I don't think I would have done well in the medieval ages or effectively anything other than the 21st century. For quite a number of reasons, but I think I'm also of a delicate disposition that if I was to approach a town that had this as its welcome sign, I would think I would be fairly nervous and not at all feeling welcome. I'll give this another go. How long has Farron been in control of Cove? Farron took over Cove quite a few years ago. Close to about 15 years, if not maybe a little longer. And again, these are a little too uniform for me. These ones that we kind of just adjusted as a group. Kind of liked that sort of like slightly off kilter approach to it. So they're not all going to be perfect. We've been learning a little bit about Farron through the players kind of adventuring a bit more and kind of discovering that not only is he a terrible leader, as in quite a cruel and ruthless man who hurts and attacks his own townspeople. He was involved in some nefarious activities before he became a mayor. I already mentioned, a lot of the people who support him are his own crew or his former crew, and they've taken over Cove and silenced anybody that would have been a voice of opposition. And you can imagine. I'll let you use your imagination for what we mean by silenced. But there are people who still want to see their town restored, who want to live a peaceful life, and have Ferrin brought to justice. But things in the world aren't great right now, as the players are slowly beginning to realize. And the Cove, I think, is a good example for that. Cove is very much because on the outside, or on the idea of it alone, it's a small little seaside village. That sounds quite quaint. And then you discover that it's actually been completely and totally ransacked by pirates who decided not to leave, and in fact murdered the mayor, murdered anybody that wasn't willing to that was going to fight back, and rule the town with just complete and total fear. So garbage people. Farron and his crew are garbage people. And it is my sincere wish that the gang see Farron brought to justice, whatever that justice might be. But the people of Cove, most of the people of Cove, deserve a chance to make a real and proper life for themselves again. There is talk of a revolution. We have a wonderful rebel who has sort of now fallen into Farron's clutches, and I don't know if the players are going to side with them or not. But that's their prerogative. They get to decide that. That not me. I'll see what way they want to do it. I'm not going to push that at all. But they have to go back. They have learned that there's more to Ferrin than they first realized, so they have to go back. Good morning, Gregor's man. How are you? How are you keeping? I hope it's morning. I don't know if it's morning. If it's morning for you, good morning. If it's not, good time of the day, whatever time that might be for you. I am good. That's good. I am running low on my coffee, but I've plenty of water to keep me going. Is anyone playing D&D, or anyone playing any tabletop role playing games this weekend? Anybody want to tell me a little bit what they have planned, whether you're a player or a DM for your group? Anybody playing any games or streaming this weekend? Anybody up to any shenanigans this weekend? I have 3 sessions to run. Oh my god. Gregors, how? Sorry, I should probably use your full username, Gregors man, because when I call you Gregors, that sounded like really, like we were really good friends. It's like Gregors, no. What are they all D&D Gregors, or is it again? I'm just there now. Apparently that's where we're at. Is it all D&D, or is it other systems, or all D&D 5e for the same? 3 sessions for the same group. Wow. Is that like? Are you going to be doing it in like a block, or is it? Is it a like a session today, a session tomorrow, and a session on Monday? I'm curious, because that's a lot of D&D. I'm DMing Heart, the City Beneath. Just ran a great session 0. Ugh, I'm so the Real Baron's Eye and I play in a game on Wednesdays called Arcavios Eternal on Twitch. You should totally check them out. And not just because the Real Baron's Eye are in it, but it's a load of fun. We're playing Strixhaven, and we are pretending to be millennials who can afford college because it's free. And that's our big escapism. But yeah, the Real Baron's Eye, I was really stoked when you were talking about it. That sounded like so much fun. I really want to know how that goes. Gregors, your D&D 5e campaign. Hopefully, exactly 3 separate 4-hour sessions. Awesome. That's I'm kind of jealous. I'm playing a game I do play a game on Sundays, but it's not, we don't stream. It's not streamed. We play just for fun, and I'm a player in it. and it's a load of fun. I'm really really enjoying myself. I don't usually I like to consider myself the forever DM. No, sorry, I don't say forever DM. I say eternal DM. Uh, Mostly because I have control issues. So getting to be a player, um, always kind of it's a novelty for me, but I really enjoy it. Like I love I prefer, all honesty, absolutely prefer. Oh, I totally forgot about the trails. We could have used these. I didn't have to do all this work. Uh, okay, let's just have a look see at our path tool. Um, and I'm going to turn off the snapping because uh, if I make the undo, yeah, not great for what we're looking at here. So I think I'm better off going the way we were going, which was just drawing it out with the terrain tools and kind of seeing where we were going. Okay, so objects. I think it's about time we start looking. I think I'm going to start with my little port, like the little tiny little dock that we have that goes out onto the. Okay, that's very big. So not what we're looking for. Closer. And I don't think I can change the color of these, but we do need to rotate them a little bit. And I'm bringing the scale down. Yeah, that looks about right for me. And okay, so, and again, we're gonna just rotate this to match where it's going. And if there's anybody here from health and safety, you could ignore how ramshackled this looks. It's all been put together very neatly and tidily. Just gonna maybe rotate that a little bit. No, that's a little too extreme for what we're looking for. Because again, like I said, Cove is only a gonna shut this dock down for no handrails. God damn it, handrails! I always forget my handrails. Um, I Cove's port isn't. It's not a big. It's a small fishing village. Hence why it was easy for Ferren and their men to take over. I I'm curious. Crow's regulations are a little loose. Yes, yes, they're very. That's what it is. Yeah, they're they live life dangerously. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love to live their life a little dangerously? Um, with with that, yeah, I'm pretty good. Because there's not a lot of. It's very difficult to get out of Cove by boat these days, unless you have permission from Ferrin to do so. Boats don't come near it at all, uh, for loads of different reasons. Just think if there's anything I can add beyond that. Yeah, I definitely think I might have to do a reload at some stage, because I don't have my full tags switched on. I don't know why I didn't do that, because it's going to make it weird to put in houses if I haven't got roofs and stuff like that. So and build our buildings. But I can do a couple of things here. We can use our tool above. Like I said, it's been a while since I've used Dungeon Draft to make a map, but that's Cove's new motto. Yeah. What's that like to live deliciously? Sure, we can get that. We can get that on their flag, which is a terrifying flag, but we can get it on that. Who knows? Farron might die of a broken is going to be ideal because there's a lot of broken stuff in. And I think, do you know what I think? We had said that the tavern had been smashed. I'm going to do my best to see if we can go really reflective, if we can really get that out there when we got to build our town. So I'm looking for what else our dock might have. And I'm looking for barrels. There we go. Okay, perfect. Every dock has a couple of barrels on it, and these need to go over, not under. So we're just going again, very haphazardly, making this a very dangerous dock. I'm gonna take that one off. I'm gonna take that barrel out, and then we're gonna go to another layer just so it makes it easier to play with the stuff on top of our dock. I'm gonna go through bits and pieces, and I quite like these ones. I'm pretty sure, yeah, these are definitely 2 minute tabletop assets. Absolutely love their stuff. Great for it's a bit different to what we're looking for. Great for this kind of stuff. I don't know if anybody else here uses 2 minute tabletops. What is the area you're currently making? Are you playing in a homebrew world? Yeah, Gregor's everything. All of the games that we run here at D8 Dungeon are homebrew, and the worlds are homebrewed as well. And the space that we're looking at is a seaside village called Cove, and this is from our Rise of the Forsaken stream every second Monday. So Monday coming, no episode, but the Monday after there'll be a new episode streamed here on Twitch. And Cove is a small little village on the island of Inishdarug, and our players have been and gone, but are returning because one of the players had been robbed of a gift given to them by their mother, and they've also learned that the guy running the place, they already knew he was a jackass. He's a horrible, horrible person. Like, I mean, horrible person. Uh, they kind of want to maybe put him in his place. So we are looking at going back to deal with him, and maybe give the town a chance at recovering or finding its feet. I guess whatever way you kind of want to look at it. And it's it's not it's not been great for the people of Cove for the last while. Um, but I think it's gonna get there. The gang seem very, very big. Um, the gang seem very interested in. I don't want to say revenge. It's the closest thing I could think of. But ignore me as I look for. There we go, crates. Um, and clutter. Okay. Yeah, so they're heading back to this spot to put right this awful mayor slash former pirate slash slaver. Um, uh, Not a whole lot. Cove has seen better days. A lot of it. Um, Captain Ferrin and his men continue to raid ships along that might draw near. But they were effectively pirates that were robbing from both the Republic and the Pendraston Empire, which are across the sea. They would attack any ship. It didn't matter what flag was on it. They attacked ships. They raided. They also took on some smuggling, and a lot of that would have been, again, they were playing both sides against each other, and are very much opportunists when it comes to uh, effectively making money. And they've since taking over, they have very much been ruthless. They took over Cove about 15 or 18 years ago, and the town itself, the village itself, not a lot of people go here anymore. You're not welcome. The pirates are very much holding the what townsfolk survived and what townsfolk didn't flee at hostage. A few have kind of started to come round to Farron's way of thinking, if only to save themselves. Not that that excuses crappy behavior, but they have very much. They do. They do. I won't go much more into that, but they do. Uh, yes, there is still very much a vessel out there that they have under their pirating. No, no, it's a great question. It's just there's one or two players in the chat, and I don't want to give them an advantage over the others. Not that they would, but you know, I don't want to be accused of favoritism. Um, we're gonna throw in a little bit of flotsam or jets. I can't remember. Flotsam. Yeah, it just makes sense that there's a log or two, but that's a very big log. I'm gonna drop that in. I really wish I should have swapped out my mouse for that's a very small log now. There we go. Should have swapped out a my mouse for something else because it's a bit annoying having to go up and change the rotation and scale and stuff manually, whereas I could be using the shortcuts if I had gone with a different mouse, but I didn't, and it's too late to change now. So here we are. This is what we're at. Okay, we've kind of smacked a little bit of our port down. I want to take a look at creating our buildings. And one of the first buildings the players encountered was I would say won't encountered, but stayed in, was a bed and breakfast. And you might be wondering, why is there a bread and breakfast in a town where there are pirates? And that's a very good question. There's a bed and breakfast because its owner is demented. And the bed and breakfast sort of looked out. Oh, I've gotten here. Look, I can just. Yeah, we can change those a little bit, I think. Because it's actually longer than it is anything else. Yeah, that's about right. Wonder what the color is. Yeah, and do you know what? I agree, Mad Demon, and I'm a very very fortunate DM. I have really good players. Um, I think we all have very good players. I don't think my players are better than anybody else's. That's a lie. I do. I know I don't. I they're all really they're all really good at like if I have to give players information, they're very good at like understanding that this, but your character might not necessarily know that. And I have a question for you, Mad Demon. Just you can see here, that looks a bit clunky. The roof, the way it is. Is there a way? And again, I don't know. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. That is not what we're trying to do here. I would love to have been able to have it so that this corner in particular was at an angle, but I don't think you can do that with the roof tool. And it is what it is. We'll make do with what we have. And I should have made the walls. Damn. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to. I'm actually gonna have to redo the. Actually gonna have to redo the roof, and such. Okay, so I'm gonna undo a couple of things that we've done here. So we're gonna redo our, because I actually I kind of prefer this stone wall that we have here, the basic building stone. So we're going to go back and turning off the shadows because I don't like those. I've turned off the bevel. I wonder if that's going to help out with yeah, that's way closer now to what no, that's totally fine. It's a bit clunky. And don't get me wrong, I really like I said, I uh love playing with Dungeon Draft, but there are certain things that that always kind of drive me a little bit um bananas. Um okay. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right for our sun direction shade contrast. Oh, there's a lot of things here that I've never used before. Oh, I'm still on manual. Okay. Oh, hang on. Okay, huge, obviously, and not what we need, but um, I think I've accidentally stumbled on something. So let's get the width down. Um, Now, my only thing with this is, right? Okay, so escape. I'm going to go back to the roof tool. I'm going to make this a little bigger again. And we're going to start maybe if we turn the snap off. Aha. Aha. I think we accidentally found it, everybody. Okay, no, that's not obviously what no, I got cocky. That's what happened now. No. I'm gonna put this down to me being left. Oh, okay, I definitely right clicked, so you shouldn't be doing. Okay, take two. And I again, if we bring the scale up, maybe 1 point. We'll go to no. I want you to go up. We'll go to two. I'll try the same spot. Okay, it's a little bigger than what we need it for. So we're gonna undo and we're gonna go back down to maybe 1.8. Because I do like being able to see a little bit of the walls. Too far back. Let's start here, I think, maybe. Okay, and I tell you what I'm going to do. Okay, no, you can stop that now, because... Oh, I'm so annoyed. Okay, this is vexing. And that's what we end up with. That's not what I want. Quick box it is. As much as I would love to sit here now and try figure that out, not the time to be doing it on stream. And what we're going to do is we are going to edit the points of our wall so that our wall fits here. And I'm going to add a little... okay, why are you being weird now? Space out onto this. And it should be able to do that, what we just did there a little ago with the... Oh, what's this hip? Again, why am I experimenting with things? I should be waiting. Okay. I think I think I'm only wasting time. So we're just going to go with the... Because if I have to sit here all day and play with the roof, trying to get it to match the walls. So we're just going to go with our roof tool for the time being. And a lot of the buildings in Cove are thatched, with the exception of our... so there's our B&B, with the exception of what was the tavern and our mayor's house. So we're gonna go do that one now, I reckon. So definitely the biggest building. Oh, that's my bad. I switched it over. Undo. might try, forgive me, but I'm going to give this another go. Let's see how we get on with it. For some reason, it just... Okay, that's way too big. But, nevertheless, I know what I'm doing. When I right click, it's just getting all weird. So, okay. Okay, so double clicking doesn't help either. Okay. Okay. So, and I wonder, I think I can... Yeah, we can. We can reshape this a little. Okay, that works. That's working out. Okay. Now, our tavern. Where is our roof tool again? So, tavern would have been most definitely wooden and was not a particularly... Oh, I never changed my scale. Okay. Okay, undo though. Redo. So undo that, and then I'm going to bring our scale down because we don't need it to be that big again. And still quite big. Okay. You know, we're gonna make do with it, and we're gonna go back in and we're gonna just adjust it this way, I think. And the tavern looked out onto a couple of these little buildings, so we're just gonna maybe have a go at that. And I think our B&B could come down a small bit as well. Yeah. Okay. And I'm just going to put in a little shack almost. We're going to go to hip. And we're going to stick with, I think, wood again. And we're going to definitely bring the scale down. Just to be... Okay. And again, even with that, we're going to just make some adjustments. So, small little shack. Next to our dock. Again, probably our little fisherman space. Just going to take a look. Walls are good for a farmyard fence. Yeah, we're kind of going for a little bit of a fortification, ramshackle look, Monkey King. Currently working on a big reveal. My players have had hints but haven't yet realized there's a whole kingdom under the city they're living in, ruled by ghouls. I love it. Everybody loves a reveal. So that sounds amazing. Is it? Can we ask, Gregor? Yeah, you just don't have to tell us. But are they in trouble? Like, are the players in trouble? Like, is this gonna open up and bite them on the butt? Or are they gonna be safe? I'm curious. Usually with ghouls, I'm a little bit like, it's going to be bad, but we'll see how it goes. We're just going to be a little bit lazy now, and we're going to use our copying and pasting just to add in a couple of our smaller thatched buildings and houses. And again, still not happy with the size of the tavern because it was a bit more podunk than that. But, and again, also quite big, so we're going to bring you down and see how we get on with it. Okay, so we're going to copy, paste you again, and a few of these kind of just around. Nice. like I said, a lot of the people from the village don't didn't make it, um, and even the mayor's house now is a bit, or Farron's house is a bit larger for what it should be. I'm gonna pop you up and probably, yeah, um, close to here. Paste you. Um, it's yeah. Do you have the Shadow Path assets? I I think I do, Monkey King. I need to take a look. We were looking at our I was looking at the assets for that I had, and I don't think I've everything loaded. Um, so if you have a tip, please, if you're happy to share, would absolutely appreciate it. You might have guessed I'm haphazardly throwing this together, um, but it's coming along. It's kind of getting there. Um, paste another I thought I'm doing this 18 years, and in the 18 years I've been DMing, but I've gotten to be a player. Okay, a lot more times than that. Um, I can I ask actually if anybody here is a the forever DM, and you've dabbled in a little bit of playing, do you ever feel a bit weird going into a game as a player? And I don't mean like being a backseat DM. Like I do my best to not go. That's not how I would have done it, or I don't try and like rules lawyer because I'm fairly rules light on a lot of my own stuff. Is not rules light, like the rules are there for a purpose, but I don't tend. I don't know. For me, I don't. I'm not always comfortable as a player. And I don't know what that is. Where that kind of comes from. Now, in saying that, I've any of the any of the games I've been able to be a part of, I've always immensely enjoyed. Um, as part of romancing the dungeon, if you've listened to the podcast and stuff like that, um, you'll know that usually in the summer we take kind of a month and a half off of releasing episodes from the main story, and we do what I would consider our anime beach episodes. So last summer we ran two of those. We had two kind of adventures that were in the world, but they didn't affect the main campaign. This year, for our break coming up in August, we are looking at some ridiculously amazing stories. And I don't know if the real Baron's Eye is still here, but the real Baron's Eye is joining us for one of those. But yesterday I held a session zero for one of the upcoming summer adventures called Lake Flaccid, and uh, Lake Flaccid is set. It's going to be a bit weird. It's Fia, who's one of the main characters in the show, at a writers' circle in Tezrab Library, which is the main city that we've been most of the podcast adventure has been based around for the last kind of season and a half. And she's at the library as part of a writer circle, getting feedback from her, you know, the other people in the group. One of which happens to be the narrator for the podcast, Roz Greypurse, our love wizard. And Roz is a little bit more constructive in her feedback than maybe the others, and is now helping and encouraging Fia to take her whimsical sea adventure to a whole other level of like erotic, semi-erotic, definitely horny, romantic tragedy tropes, a la trashy romance novels. And so I met with the players playing the fictional characters in the fan fiction that Fia is writing yesterday. And yeah, it was amazing to have a chat with them. But all of the people involved in this, I actually got to be a guest as part of their stuff last year on various different projects. So I was a player in all of their campaigns, and or their not campaigns, in their adventures. So I was like, you know what, these people were phenomenal to work with and play with, and I would love to maybe have the opportunity to run a game for them. And yeah, the characters are freaking insane. And very very excited to be running that over. We're going to be recording it in a couple of weeks. We don't The podcast, all of the adventures are, even the one shots and stuff like that, are always podcasted. We don't have we streamed anything? I don't think we've done it. I think we had the Cobalt Christmas we did all right as a stream. I think I can't remember. That was like 6 months ago, so my brain doesn't work that far back. But I'm very very excited for that. Must start looking at Rise of the Forsaken as well, and see if we can bring in some guests into that. But yeah, yeah. Did you know? Monkey, I'm terrible at rules myself for the most part. They're there. Their structure, they're like Lego. You can break it apart and put it together in another way. So that's always been kind of my approach to it. Um, back to making our map. I will be keeping an eye on chat, and we're just going to be adding a little bit of detail to the village and stuff like that now at this point, because it is Saturday and I have so much housework to do around the place, and I have three cats that are thankfully you haven't been able to hear them, but let's get back to making our the village of Cove. And if you're just joining us, we are making a map of the village of Cove from our Rise of the Forsaken stream on Mondays. Um, and more Play-Doh to me, but yeah, it is. It's a building bricks. That's the you can slap things together, and you work it out as you kind of go through. We've done a bit of work on our little dock and stuff like that. We've got our little shack that would kind of maybe keep an eye on the space here. But I think at this stage now we kind of really need to look at adding a bit of color, I guess, to this space, because it's a bit drab. And Cove isn't exactly a particularly happy-go-lucky space anyway. But regardless of that, and you know what I'm actually going to do, because I have not done it? I'm going to save, because this always has a tendency to crash on me. TTRPGs, Rise of the Forsaken, maps, and you'll see random stuff dropped in here as well. I'm just going to call it Cove. Okay, grand. Saving. I outside of DMing and stuff like that, I do video editing and audio editing, and rule of thumb, you save way more than you need to. So should have been saving a bit more than I was for this. I'm just going to very, very briefly take a look, because I think Monkey King had mentioned the shadow. Yeah, it was. Monkey King had mentioned the shadow path tool. I'm just going to check to see if I actually have the thing. Path tool. And you might be able to tell me. Shadow flat. Oh. Oh, now I see. That is nifty. And can I do the same thing? Okay, so that's the one thing to be aware of. I can't, after I draw, for some reason I can't. Oh, I can pick it up. Oh, okay. That is class. Just for adding that little bit of depth to the map. That's good to know. Because what I'm going to do is I'm definitely not going to get this finished today. But okay, having a bit of a bother now trying to pick the bloody thing up. I'm going to undo, because I might go back at some stage and pop those in. If you go to the link above in chat characters pack, you can get some meat. I will do. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. Okay, I think I'm going to go back and do the shadow and stuff after the fact. Let's continue on with a little bit more of our dress. Our dressing of the space that we're in, and kind of the town, and what we kind of need to do. And like I said, I didn't load everything that I needed to for this, so I'm just gonna have a flick down through just to see what we do have. Kitchenware, no. We can kind of go back and take a look at anything that we might have to add to this space. Roof shingles, roof holes. Are we gonna put? Yeah, I think we would. We would put a above walls, and then I forgot above roofs. So we're gonna pop a little. I'm gonna make this a little bigger as well, because it is the mayor's house, and it would have a weather vane. They're all kind of thatch roofs and stuff. Okay, so yeah, we put a little weather vane on top of our mayoral building, but our town itself needs a bit of oomph, I think. And we see all these logs and stuff, that have been used, these sticks and branches and stuff that have been torn down, and they definitely have come from kind of the surrounding area. So we're going to bring our scale way down here. Yeah, I think even something a little bit like that. And we'll just rotate it randomly just so we're not looking at the same space the entire time. So we're not looking at the same thing. Just so we can see that they have done a bit of damage to the outlying trees and stuff, that they've pulled them down to make their fortifications. And I don't think they've taken everything down, but maybe take a look at, you know, one or two that they might have left up. And we'll bring the scale of this up a small bit. Yeah, I kind of like it being a little bit tattered looking. And do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go in and I'm going to use our scatter tool just to make this a little bit easier. And we're going to use these. I'm going to bring the scale down though. It's quite big. Still quite big. Okay. And we were on layer 2 for this. And for anyone that doesn't use Dungeon Draft, we're looking at the scatter tool basically cycles through a block of things. And it allows us to... Okay. Oh my... Yeah, that should be... Yeah, that's correct. That should be about right. So we'll put... I think we'll put one there. And rotation is fine. Spread is okay. We're going to leave the shadows on, I think, as well. Maybe whack one just outside the village as well, that they didn't quite maybe hack away at it. No, it should... I thought it should have been going over that. Oh, there we go. That was my mistake. You know, we're just going to have them sit on top of each other a little bit like a little bushel. Maybe these were the rattier trees. They were like, yeah, we don't want these ones. These are terrible trees. Giant forest fungus tree roots. Yeah, underwater we have to, yeah, because that it's the water looks a little flat, doesn't it? So we are going to be throwing, I think, a few bits and pieces under that as well. Just to kind of, but even, you know, even, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, but like even with those the stumps and the kind of weather looking trees, they do look a little, the map does, to me anyway, look a little, you know, a little more realistic, a little bit more lifelike than had it just been on its own. The other thing we need to definitely add are rocks and stuff like that, and stones. And I have actually got a couple of stone debris. No, rocks. Okay, and these are, and I said this, I think, I love putting these underwater. I think these always look kind of class, especially if you just drop them down. So if we go into our below water layer and you drop, like, that is just, I think that's always class. It does look really, really cool. Just to add kind of a bit of a, and are we still on scatter? Yeah, we are. So we're going to pull these in, and we're just going to add, you know, an embankment of stones. You know, maybe there's a few outside, but you know, it's not absolutely perfect, but some of these ones are really cool for this as well. I'm going to go back to our I'm going to go back to our object tool to give me a bit more kind of control when it comes to where we're putting these. I think I did have, yeah, these actually make for really, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit because it's a little difficult to see. We've got a 200. I love these kind of, and I think these are 2-minute tabletop. I'm pretty sure they are, but like they just add a little bit of depth to the water and stuff like that. So it's not just the black lines and stuff. Um, it does. Um, let's get the rotation for this right there, I think. Um, and we're gonna put this, I think, on 3. So you do get a bit of that. There's more kind of happening on the shore and stuff like that than. We'll add a little bit of this as well, and we'll have to go back here and rotate it again. I think for the next time, and I'm not sure if it'll be James doing the next one of these. It just kind of depends on everybody's kind of schedules and stuff. But I definitely need to pick up a different mouse, I think, just because it is. I actually the Mac isn't the Magic Mouse, as great and all as it is, not the best for being able to quickly shift and stuff between this. So like my rotation and stuff, I can't do a whole pile of. But nevertheless, it's fine. It just means there's a bit more work in like managing our space and stuff like that, but that's okay. Put in a few of these other maybe bigger rocks. I've seen some really cool things with like underwater layers and the cliff tool, for making like underwater ridges and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. Don't have the time to be fiddling around with that. We're here really just to kind of give a bit of life to our map as it currently is. We can kind of maybe look then at a few of these other ones around the outside and stuff like that. Yeah, Mac Mouse and making dungeons not the best, and I use and again I have that magic one, so there's no scroll wheel on it, there's no nothing, so it's a little bit fiddly when you're trying to work away on it. This is definitely one thing I think we definitely need to maybe. I just spotted, we were joking earlier on about there being no handrails, but now there is a railing, but I don't have it loaded. So well, we're definitely in serious breach of our health and safety. I'm just wondering, might be worth our while. Yeah, let's just. It's a bit big. I want to see. Probably no way of doing what I want to do here, but I love the idea of there being like something belonged to a ship, part of a ship under the water, like even our little anchor here, maybe it fell off. And I'm just gonna pop some rope onto the deck as well. Not the deck, our pier. Just to see how we get on with it. But we've added a little bit. We're just pop out and have a look. Yeah, we've added a little bit more to it. I used to type of wolf rolling, but I do not remember what kind. Okay. Yeah, I guess you could kind of almost kind of fence it off a little bit, but we've added. We've even with those kind of few small details. It's kind of coming together a little bit more. I want to take a look at our stairs, because our mayoral house had stairs up to it, and steps up to it. So we're going to go back in here, and I'm going to focus in a little bit on this, and we're going to bring our scale up for these. Yeah, that looks about right. I should have put them down first. I am not an artist by any shape or form, so like, scaling things and like being aware, unless it's obviously very, it should be very like, that is way too big for what it should be. I'll never notice it. I'm terrible at those kind of things. I think it's one of the things that I find the most sort of frustrating for this kind of thing. Is, and never been quite happy with it. And I was saying just before we took a break that I had quite a funny story about map making. I was in a. I think I still am. I just don't. I just don't use Facebook anymore. But I was in. That looks about right. Ish. Or does it? No, it's a little off. There. I was in a. I am in a. I keep saying was. I am in a Facebook group for map makers and stuff like that, just to see what other people do and just get some inspiration for kind of the stuff that they make. And oh, some of the stuff is just it's art. Like it is. It really is art. But I picked up Dungeon Draft last year, and I said, I really want to give this a go. I really enjoy this. It seems like so much fun. I'll see where we're at with it. And went away, and I was like, I should make the map for Tezrab, the city of Tezrab. And I wanted a reference point for myself, but also because we were going to be in that space, I wanted the players, some of whom come from that city, to know it as well, so that it's when they're asking about where's this or where's that. So I went away and I wrote the city first. I wrote up the districts and the areas and the spaces and the streets and quarters and so on and so forth. And then I went away to build it. And like that, I was using was it I think I was using Wonder Draft or World Draft, the other one, the other draft, and I built the whole thing. It's class. It's on a lake. It's lovely. There's surrounding woodlands and farmlands, and all the districts and streets were all put together. And I was so proud of myself. But one of the shortcuts I had used was I just used wood wall 2 might work for you. Perfect. Thank you, Madim. I might take a look at it. Um, I wanted to use a uh, just to save time, because it was like time consuming to have to paint the roof of every building a separate color. So I was like, I'll just go red. I'll just go red for the sake of it. Whacked it all in, and I took a step back from it. Oh my god, I'm really proud of the work I've done. It's the first map I've made. It's taken me a couple of hours, but it's really good. I'm really happy with it. I'm just gonna hit the save button while I talk. Um, Put it up on that group, and initially the response was like, oh, well done. Oh, would you not think that there wouldn't be as much woodlands in the area? But I was able to kind of explain, knowing about the city, and the woodlands were actually um, the city council reinvesting in the biodiversity. It was basically a big grant was given to hunters to plant trees to effectively bring back natural wildlife to the area, and so on and so forth, for rich people to go hunting. And again, I digress. But someone went, does the city not look familiar? Does that not look familiar to you? And I was like, no, it's a city from my brain. I I used a random world map generator, um, took that, transplanted it into Wonderdraft as a base, and then built my city around it. And he's like, oh look, I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean. And I was like, okay. And he goes, it looks like Spider-Man's mask. And I was like, what? So he took the image I made, downloaded it, and then using Photoshop or some other photo or imaging editing tool, layered a profile picture of Spider-Man's mask over it, and it's all I've ever seen. It's all I ever see now when I look at the city map for Tezrab is, and I went back and I recolored and I changed some of the layout of the streets and stuff to kind of it did actually look like Wolverine's, or not Wolverine, Spider-Man's mask, the eye, because there was a little pond, and it was just, yeah, the shape, the walls on the outside of the city, it was a bit cringeworthy for me. And he was being really it was really funny. Like, I wasn't upset or anything. I was more just flabbergasted that I had accidentally made Spider-Man's mask a city in my world. Let's go back in, and we're gonna add a little bit more. I'll tell you what. I will pop that mask. I think I actually have the image he made. I think I have the image. I'll check. But if you're not in our Discord, I'll put the afterwards, and you can have a look at the map, because it does. I'll put up the original one, because it does look like Spider-Man's mask, and it was so. You can't unsee it anymore. So I went back a couple of weeks later, uh, to to fix it. I'm gonna go back to our trees, I think, because I want to add in a couple of these. I like the idea of, like, there being some dead trees in the town. Um, that sounds very ominous, I know, but it is for it is a bit. It's meant to be a bit weird. Let me have a look. I don't think it's as a code. I can pop it in here. This pulls up our Discord one, I think. Yeah, there's a link to the Discord server there, Monkey King, if you'd like to join us. And there are some wonderful TTRPG creators and stuff like that in that space as well. That's a very big tree. Yeah, we'll put that one there maybe. And okay, so there's not going to be a whole pile of these around the place. Is there is, if you, there's a self promo, there's an art channel and stuff like that as well, Mad Demon. So if you want to pop along, and if you want to share any, if you, I don't know if you are Monkey King or streamers as well. If you are, feel free to promote your stuff. You promote it here in chat as well. I'd love to check it out afterwards as well. But you can. There's a self promo channel and an art channel as well. So do feel free to pop in and share anything you'd like over there. And there are some wonderful people in that Discord. And crap, I forgot. I was supposed to be doing something else. I'm running a murder mystery game and I have to open it. I've completely forgotten that as well. I have so many things to do today. Let's get on with building our town so I can go do the other million things I'm doing today. And where we might go with it. Okay, we definitely need a couple of piles of lumber. Because you just do. Every place needs a couple of piles of logs. Perfect. And make these a little bit bigger. And usually put them at the sides of the houses or the back of the houses. I grew up. In case the accent doesn't give it away, although I don't have the strongest Irish accent, I grew up in West Limerick, so a small, tiny little Limerick in the southwest of Ireland, and my grandparents. So my mom comes from a village called Mount Collins, and I have vivid memories of my grandparents and just this huge mountain, which is called the turf shed. This huge mountain of turf and like logs and stuff, always at the back of the house. And they would just open the side door of the house, go out, grab a couple of logs or a couple of sods of turf, and just throw it into the fire in the kitchen slash dining room slash. It was their sitting room as well. It was quite a small, like there was a very small house that my grandparents had, but it was theirs and it was deadly. So yeah, I always remember to put in a little bit of these kind of logs and stuff like that, because gotta keep your house warm. Horses. Any of these with a saddle on them? Don't think so. But again, not gonna throw anything in. Just want to make sure I get a couple of these things right. Just to see where we're at with this portal. What have I got? I've got about 50 minutes left before I got to wrap up. So let's see what else I can throw in here very quickly. Not throw it in very quickly, but basic building assets. Okay. Again, yeah, I like the idea of, it's just the color is throwing me off a little bit. It's a little too bright for kind of where we're at, what we're going with. But this kind of maybe hints at the fact there might have been another house back here that maybe didn't survive his Farron's takeover a couple of years back. Camp assets. Okay, here we go. Got a little wagon. It's a bit big for a wagon. Take it down a small bit. Shouldn't be as big as the house, but it should still be big. Puddles, yes. Have I got puddles? Wonder if there's anything in water first. No, but I've got ripples there, so puddles. I must, if I haven't. Okay, have I got? There is an option to search under to see if I've got puddles. No, I've got platforms, but haven't got puddles. Buggery. But that's really good. I must look for those puddles and barrels. I must actually look for a. I wonder if there's even anything I have that. And I probably do, but I might just not, because when I was loading up Dungeon Draft earlier on, I actually made a point of water tool should work. Yeah, I might go in and take a look at that. We do need a well, because they're not drinking seawater. So we pop a well close to the middle, and that looks to be a half. Yeah, it looks to be a half decent size. I could have used these bridge tools. The bridge tools makes it look a little bit more. Yeah, would have made our platform look a little bit more rickety, or our pier look a little bit more rickety. Gonna work on our rotation here for water trough, just to bring it to the back, because if we've got a wagon, we've got a horse, and if we've got a horse, the horse needs to be fed and watered. So, bucket. Throw a couple of these down. Chimney. Above our roofs, and we're going to make these a little bigger, because again, not all going to be super fancy chimneys, not all going to be super massive. The layout should be slightly different, or the space of these should be slightly different. Do a double chimney, I think, just because this is our tavern and our inn, so it may have. I should have made those a little bit bigger, actually. Pop them in there. Yeah, one big one, one small one. Oh, same size. Just because it's going to be, obviously, if there's rooms, rooms might have their own fireplaces and stuff like that, so we might pop in a few of those. That's a very big chimney now to be putting on. These roofs back here, I think, and then pop another one. Bring the scale up for this one. Just maybe pop it back here as well. Again, your timber's there, so it kind of makes sense to have it there. Flag stand. Now I want this under the roof, so it looks. I might fix the rotation on this a little bit as well. Yeah. Okay, there's our mayoral house. Again, Farron's flag flying. Absolute garbage human being. Really, really not comfortable with characters like Farron. As much fun it is, to have a bad guy and stuff. A BBEG. Everyone loves the end game boss and stuff like that. But Farron is, he's not a lich. He's not anything supernatural. He's just a garbage person, an absolute trash bag. And the players all had like a visceral reaction to him, which is great. But then again, my players are not bad people, so they would get why you wouldn't like somebody like Farron at all. Again, we'd have a road sign, probably having a bones hanging off the thing more than anything else, but neither here nor there. What else can we pop out here now? I definitely think I need to. I love how I don't have a lot of the other assets turned on, but I've got the toilets turned on. We've done a bit of rope on our dock and stuff like that. Posted a couple in art on the Discord. Great. I'm really looking forward to taking a look. You might regret that though, Mad Demon, because I might end up wrecking your head with loads of questions. So if I do, just tell me to shut up and bugger off. That's totally fine. I can be a little excitable around this kind of stuff. Again, weird to have a bit of vegetation, especially if it's, if we're all doom and gloom. Water. Just trying to have a look to see, because there's quite a bit of, these things now will be a load of fun. Just because Farron's men, when they're not using the townsfolk for practice, do actually keep themselves fit and ready. So there would definitely be a few test dummies and targets sort of scattered around, especially at the back of the house, I reckon. Um, that's kind of a cool asset. We'll pop that maybe there, just under the back of the house. Only one that took more than a couple of hours was the first one I posted. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Let's see, where else? I'm gonna try, and just because I hope you're still here, Monkey King, because I might ask you, um, might try a couple of our muddy or our puddles, just to see where we can kind of, or what we can do with it. Okay, so blend distance, bring the size down a small bit, I think. Oh, we know we want the border on, that's fine. Now I wonder, would I be better off here than creating a new layer? Oh, wrong. Go back to ground. Be careful with the. Yeah, I usually put kind of a blop down and then see where we go with it. So that's obviously very dark. Okay. Noted. I'll thank you for that. I'm gonna undo that, and I will. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna create. Do I have to? Don't. So if I go and I start splotting a couple of these down, I was playing with this a while ago. This kind of comparison of layers and stuff like that to just see how things kind of go. Brushes are huge. That looks a bit odd. Okay, just gonna smack that down. Might be one of those things I play with again, just because I am beginning to kind of run out of time, because I have, like I said, I have other bits and pieces to be doing today. But that actually, for what we did in a little bit, now there's still a bit to be done, and I do like see the color of this timber and stuff here and here and these runes. I would probably go and put a bit more time into this and to get smaller rays to water. Okay, I will do. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to take a look at doing that, I think, because I will. What I'm going to do is I'll save where we are now, before I forget, and I will take a look at maybe developing this further, and then I will save this. I'll export this as it currently is, and then what it finishes up as, because we're going back to Cove, the Rise of the Forsaken stream. The players are coming back to this small village, so I think it's important that they have the Forgotten Adventure. Okay, and I'm definitely taking a look at those. I must open that link and bookmark it to go perusing through. I would keep going. It's just I have a on the Discord server we're running a text based role playing game, all set in the world of Romancing the Dungeon, and that is a canon adventure. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But before I go, big thank you for everybody who took the time to join me this morning. I have a lot of fun streaming and doing this kind of bits and pieces. On Tuesday, Tuesday is the next stream we have. On Tuesday, I'm back. It's a 1 hour stream. It might go over by a couple of minutes, but try to keep it to an hour. Called DM Notes, and it's just where I talk about practices that I undertake as a DM. At the moment, we kicked it off 2 weeks ago, and it's every fortnight. We're talking about world building, and on the first episode, we talked about looking at that in terms of the world, the region, the town. So the big to the tiny, and how you kind of map those out. So what I'm going to maybe talk about is going into that in a little bit more detail, because we kind of gave a fairly broad look at it. So I'm back on Tuesday for that, and we have the next episode of Saving Grace, and we're coming to the end of Saving Grace actually, our short term adventure on Thursday, and yeah, a big thank you to everybody for joining us this morning, and I look forward to this again in a couple of weeks. I think James is doing the next one, but we always do different tools and stuff like that as well. We use different locations, so who knows? I might hold off on the development of this, but without keeping you any further, thank you so much for joining us. I've already shared like who we are and stuff like that quite a few times, but we are D8 Dungeon. We're a group of Irish role playing, tabletop role playing gamers who love telling stories, having a bit of a laugh, and like like most games, like most GMs and stuff like that. What we do, we're very much about like having fun, and our games tend to be very. I won't say different because that makes it sound like we're better, but they tend to be very focused on character and role play, rather than big mechanics and stuff like that. So storytelling is what we aim for. We have one last thing to mention. At the end of July, we have a big charity event coming up called D8 Dungeon Drive, with aims to raise money for Planned Parenthood. Given the news from the US over the last couple of days and where things are going, it's our annual charity event. It's 2 days of tabletop role playing games, Friday the 29th and Saturday the 30th of July. We are looking for dungeon masters. We are looking for players to run and participate in one shot games. If anybody here is interested, there's details over on the Discord as well anyway, but we are looking for dungeon masters. We are looking for stream producers, chat mods. We're looking for volunteers effectively. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in doing, I would love if you would get on board and keep an eye out for it. I hope you have a fantastic Saturday, wherever you are, whatever you've planned. I hope you have some great tabletop adventures this weekend, and I will see you very, very soon. Okay? Thanks so much, and take care.